right, welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Try-F Podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up. Whew, it's been a week. But that's okay. Trevor, how are you this evening?
It has been a week. I'm all right. I dressed up just for this one.
Did you?
Sweet. Got my fedora, and I tried to copy you. This is the only best I have. So.
Hey, that's all right, man. I'm glad that I'm making a small difference in the world. We'll all be dapper before we reach 100 subscribers. So, okay.
And I clipped my beard.
I really enjoy your beard. That is just a nice beard, man. I'm jealous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay.
What are we talking about?
All right. So we've got several subjects tonight. First, we've got Kash and Bongino. They're doing damage control. So basically, as could easily have been guessed, nobody was particularly happy that they said Epstein didn't, himself. And so they began, well, we'll get into that here in a minute. So they tried to do several tactics to rebound and recover. So we'll talk about those.
Wait, rebound and recover from what?
They're trying to save their PR image.
Okay.
They're doing damage control. And they've tried several things throughout the week, and we'll see. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it here in a minute. Yeah. And then after that, we've got Fauci. Now, this story came out several years ago, but apparently it's resurfaced. I don't know why it's resurfacing now, but it's resurfacing now. It's Fauci is apparently responsible for mass graves in New York. So we're going to look at RFK's account of that and see what he had to say about it and react to it and look up some other stuff on that. And then we have some stuff on the Bradshaw Ranch. And we got an interesting question. These guys are basically taking paranormal, what you would call it, like paranormal research methods and applying it to UFOs and saying that the orbs and the stuff that are typically associated with, supernatural things, apparently that's aliens. Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to see, we're going to listen to them and then share our thoughts, see what we think about it. Because we don't agree.
Drones.
Yeah, it's drones.
Or fairies.
Why not? Why not? I think I told you last week, I think the only conspiracy theory that hasn't been confirmed at this point is like Bigfoot and aliens being friends or something. So
Or lizard people.
Or lizard. We haven't got lizard people yet. That's right. David Icke has yet to be proven, has yet to be confirmed. He might be the last man standing, Trevor. I don't know. And then we're going to end the night with discussing Hollywood and the occult. So
which occult?
All the occults. Hollywood's obsession with occults. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah. So I guess if there is anybody actually out there in the ether, or in the chat, we're trying something new with the lighting. Because I could not stand that little halo over my head, and so I decided to turn the lights off. We'll see if that looks better or worse. Try to get feedback from the Snapchat. I don't know. I'm tired. This is going to be a long one.
Snapchat.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's begin with Kash and Bongino running damage control. Now, there's been several things going on. So let me tee this off. So last week, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino said that Epstein had definitely killed himself, right? Now, the manner in which they did so was...
You mean unalived himself?
Unalived himself, yes.
For YouTube's sake?
Yeah, for YouTube's sake. Which, by the way, YouTube's commie methods have been getting more and more irritating. Like, they banned our Bill Hicks clip at the beginning of last week's episode. And I just want to complain about it. They banned other stuff, too. Like, when we did the VH1 series, like, the VH1 had that episode about Epstein and everything. Yeah. They banned that clip. When we finally found the original clip, they banned it. The New York Post could produce it, but when we did it, we got banned. You know, because communism, or they would call it copyright laws, but the real word is communism. So, anyway, they've been trying to memory hold this Epstein thing like crazy, and it keeps getting worse and worse. So basically, they said Epstein definitely killed himself, and they tried to do this braggadocious, "We've seen the files, we know the facts," that kind of thing. And of course, that irritated people almost as much as the claim itself. Everybody's like, don't give us that crap. Don't tell us trust the experts. Especially after COVID. I'm astonished they were dumb enough to do that. After everything everyone experienced of COVID, they were honestly stupid enough to go, trust the experts. Trust the experts. We know because we're prosecutors and stuff. I'm not saying they're stupid, but that was a dumb choice. So, anywho.
They're experts. You can't call them stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a poor decision, not well thought out, to sit there and appeal to their own authority, especially after COVID. That was a bad choice, especially if your fan base is MAGA, So, yeah.
We went there with a MAGA.
I said the word MAGA, yeah.
We're banned again.
Well, it gets worse, speaking on MAGA, because Trump is dubious about this, too, because that wasn't the only claim. They also said that the assassin was working by himself, the one in Butler, Pennsylvania. He was apparently a lone actor. We're going to conveniently ignore all the bank accounts and the phones.
One who worked for BlackRock?
Yeah, the one that was in the BlackRock commercial. Yeah. Yeah, he was just a lone actor, guys. Nothing to see here. And it's just, obviously, the guy had like 10 phones. Who has like 10 phones?
I have 10 phones.
Yeah. Anyway,
but 9 of them are broken.
Yeah, 9 of them are broken, right? So basically, Trump communicated his displeasure, and that might be part of the reason for this PR campaign. So this week, it was really interesting because they started out by going, "Oh, guys, look what we're going to do. Look over here, a bag of cocaine. Do you want to know who put the cocaine in the White House? Cocaine, right?" And everybody was like, "No, because we just assume cocaine's in the White House all the time anyway." So they didn't care about that. And the next thing was, we're going to produce the facts on January 6th. So they've been screaming a lot about January 6th and trying to blindside everybody with that.
Wait, are you talking about the January 6th or just this recent January 6th?
The January 6th.
Okay.
The most tragic day in American history, according to some, where our temple to democracy was desecrated. So, because these people think they're God. So, obviously their temple was, violated or whatever.
Like
anyway.
AOC.
Yeah. Oh, it's very traumatic for him. Anyway, so they said, we're going to release the truth on January 6th, and we're going to be shocked. Shocked, I tell you. And nobody bought it. So they finally came out and had to address the Epstein thing again. And now they claim there's a tape. So let's start by...
Let's watch that tape.
Yeah, let's watch Bongino talk about the tape that he should have released before we mentioned it. But we'll get to that here in a second.
So the moment Kash and I swore in, we realized that the first thing we had to do is rebuild public trust. This is your FBI. It's not mine. I tell the employees every day, you don't own it, you don't own it, I don't own it. It's like being the center fielder for the Yankees. That'll live with you forever, but you don't own the Yankees. It's a proud franchise. The place has taken a reputational hit. There is zero question about it. There were a lot of bad actors. One of them still out there causing us all kinds of trouble. So we had to fix it and rebuild public trust. One of the ways to do it is these cases of...
Sorry, what?
He should just look in the mirror. He's a bad actor.
Yeah, well, it's a little ironic. But I think that... I'm going to save this for the end, but I think what he says here at the beginning of the statement is actually quite telling. Because I think...
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. I started out trying to be nice and say that, they're being blackmailed. But I don't think that's it. I think that there is I think Kash and Bongino's priority is securing the reputation of the FBI. Because you keep hearing them talk about that kind of terminology over and over again. And Robert Barnes has pointed this out too. So, yeah, the idea is that we gotta restore trust in the institutions. Well, if our institutions were smuggling kids, that ain't exactly going to ensure trust, now is it? So the institutionalists are going.
Them.
I don't trust them. I don't think anybody trusts them anymore. They're trying to restore it, but then they turn around and hide stuff. Like it's yeah, not doing a very good job so far. But anyway, so let's go on.
Significant public interest that matter. You know, we had 2 pipe bombs planted on January 6th. I mean, we were told by partisan actors out there this was the insurrection, the world was going to fall apart, and no one seemed to show any interest in this case. The second we got in, I put a team on it, and I said, I want answers on this. And I'm pretty confident that we're closing in on some suspects. The reason, by the way, I use social media with these cases, I'm trying to communicate on social media, is nothing's by accident, guys. I do nothing by accident. Every time I put a tweet out on it, we get tips. We got a fascinating tip on one of these cases, one of the 3. I don't want to say which one, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to close out one of them, hopefully shortly. And in the cocaine in the White House, you know, I saw someone on social media, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. We work for you, but said, I don't care about the case. Yeah, I do. I was a Secret Service agent. A potentially hazardous material made its way into the White House.
Potentially hazardous material. Yeah, drugs are bad, we know. But come on. A potentially hazardous. You mean to tell me that's the first time cocaine was ever smuggled into the White House? Like, this is an egregious, horrifying crime.
It is.
No, it's not. I guarantee you it's been in there for forever. It's probably been...
Every president ever. That's how they're able to keep going. That's why they get white hair so fast.
Right. You got to take a lot of stimulants, and that ages you, right? So,
quick question.
Yeah.
Before you hit play, are we lagging at all?
I don't see it on my end.
His mouth on Zoom call here is not lining up with him talking. But that may just be my internet.
No, you might be right because when I set up the podcast, I forgot to set the latency up to max.
Oh,
so
okay.
that might be why it's doing it, but
it's fine. Oh well.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll keep a closer eye on it. I don't know if I can fix that midstream or not. But
it's very slight.
It's very slight. Okay.
It's very slight.
All right. Well, let's keep going here. I thought I had it on Epstein already, but it's taking a while. We'll keep going.
Nobody seems to know how it got there, and nobody seemed to investigate it fully. Like, you know, what planet do we live on where that's not a...
Yeah, but we already know whose it was. I mean, come on. You have the cocaine addict in the White House that night, and then mom looks very, very upset at that said cocaine addict. It doesn't take a deductive genius to figure out whose cocaine it is, but I guess you can't prove it in a court of law, so okay. But didn't that certain cocaine addict get a blanket pardon anyway? So what do you expect to actually happen?
Wait, who's this?
It's son. It's Junior. It's Hunter.
Oh, I know. I was just trying to get you to say it.
For
video.
People who may not have known. Yeah. No, it was probably Hunter Biden's cocaine. Chances are it's Hunter Biden's cocaine.
Gotcha.
But he's got a pardon for every crime that he's ever committed in the history of ever, apparently. So are we going to arrest Hunter Biden for said cocaine in the White House? Probably not. So why are we investigating it?
Not until we arrest Hillary for her emails.
Oh, did she get a blanket pardon too? That I don't know. That would be interesting. But no, I mean, he's already got a blanket pardon for that crime. Daddy signed a pardon for everything Hunter Biden's ever done. So are we going to actually deal with that? Probably not. So why are we investigating the cocaine? Are we hoping it's not Hunter Biden so we can blame a Secret Service officer and say we did something for a photo op? Who knows?
Probably.
Yeah.
They like their ice cream and photo ops.
Yes, they do like ice cream and photo ops. It's true. Or at least Biden did. Anyway. So...
public interest.
So you're faced with this interesting thing. I've known you since I was a kid. Damn. And I know your instinct is to swing back. But you promised that you weren't going to do that. You promised that you were going to get rid of the partisanship and you were going to go back to being...
But we chose you so you would swing back. Or we were happy that you were chosen because we thought you would swing back. Please, Swing back. We need people to swing back. Good night. What's this whole, no, we're going to be the bigger man. And we're going to honor the reputation of the FBI.
Yeah, we
It's
need,
like,
we need
no.
we need more of these people to act like Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah, we need repercussions for all the violent or all the open, blatant crimes that were committed in the last 4 years. We don't need somebody to be the bigger man here. We need somebody who's willing to scuffle. This refraining from swinging back thing's the whole problem. They haven't swung back for 40 years. That's how we got into this mess. In fact, they were so adamant about not swinging back, they joined the other side. But anyway.
Well, it's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't like this side. I don't like having to try and swing, so I'm going to switch sides. And then they wind up having to swing from the other side anyways.
Yeah. Well, we got to go along to get along, so I guess that means we're communists now. I don't know. So, anyway.
And a law enforcement officer. Yeah. You went in there.
If you love writing on paper like I do, you should check out iFlyTech's AI Note Error 2, which not only...
That's not
And
paper.
there were some cases that were...
Huh?
That was not paper.
No, I don't know what that was. Not interested either.
Oh.
Closed or still open that a lot of the public felt a little sketchy about. The first assassination attempt against President Donald Trump. It's like, is he really the guy? What happened with Epstein? Can you say with confidence, as a lot of public, you used to be their guy when it comes to podcasts, appearing on Fox News, but now as a law enforcement officer, can you say we have all the information?
Well, I'm never going to say we have all of it. And people ask me all the time, are these cases closed? And whether they're closed administratively is irrelevant.
That was a simple yes or no question.
It was teed up. The phrase was...
I hate it when they do that.
Yeah. Well, it's such theater. And, like, the guy asked the question in such a way so as to make sure he could say, well, the evidence isn't all out there. Because they're trying to walk it back a little bit. They're trying to create that little opening to say, well, we might find something in the future. Please don't be too mad at us. We're looking. And the guy was basically told to tee that question. I would imagine the guy was basically told to tee the question or word that question in that particular way so Dan Bongino could say, well, we're never going to say we have all the facts. You know, we're just dealing with, the facts we have or whatever. So it was to give him the out that he needed. Because, again, this is damage control. They're back on here to basically cover for what happened Sunday. So that's all this is. So the questions are going to be worded in such a way so as to make it look like they're organically providing a more clarifying narrative, when really it's just all theater. So anyway, I don't know if that made sense or not. That was a wordy way to say. That was a wordy way to say this is kabuki theater, but
This is fake news. That's all.
Fake news. It's fake news. So fake. So, all right. Jess says, hey, you guys sound good. Thank you. That'd be a nice change of pace.
Oh, hey, you sound better. Thank you.
There you go. Okay. All right, let's go on. Let's see what else he has to say. Yeah.
Absolutely going to follow them, and that's why I always put out, if you have additional information, please let us know. Those two cases obviously are of significant public interest. I'm just telling you what we see in the file. I just want to be crystal clear on this.
The file that has been handled by the people covering up the crime for the last 4 years. We're not going to do any of our own investigations. We're not going to reinvestigate said file. We just looked at the file and concluded. So, okay.
Which file?
I am not...
The official Epstein file, if there really is such a thing. I don't even believe that terminology. It's like, oh yeah, like there's really one comprehensive file explaining the entire case. Like, really, you've got one file that delves into the terabytes and terabytes of video footage and the suicide and everything else? Yeah, I kind of doubt it.
I doubt it, too. Because it's fake news.
Fake news. All right.
Asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't.
Right.
There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay. It was only one camera. There were there's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Right.
There's just nobody.
Okay, so what he's referring to is a camera that was basically looking at the hallway, and they couldn't see anybody entering and exiting the cell. Now, we've heard about this camera before, and there were 2 cameras that didn't work and 1 camera that did. And yeah, so we already, like, technically we already know about this camera, but now, or at least as far as if memory serves me right, we already knew about this video footage anyway, the footage he's talking about. But now this is supposed to be empirical proof that Epstein didn't kill himself. So first of all, it wasn't proof the first time it was mentioned. Second of all, why haven't you released the video already? Like, how much, like, I do video editing. That is a thing that I do. How much time does it possibly take to edit footage of an empty hallway where nobody's entering or exiting the cell?
It's probably on VHS.
Oh, it's on VHS. That's right. That's right. Yeah, my mistake.
We gotta switch it over to CD and then switch it back over from CD to MP4.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, no, they gotta switch it to MP3 and then switch it from MP3 to MP4.
We just gotta go.
We
just gotta go through all the file types. Yeah, we just gotta just make a copy of a copy of a copy. So the answer doesn't even make any sense. It's like, what in the world are you? You're gonna try to put an HD footage of a hallway? Like, what are you expecting to improve? What possible editing could there possibly be for an empty hallway? That doesn't make sense. So
they probably want to take out some people for.
Maybe they're blurring security guards or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Blurring is difficult.
I haven't ever done it. That is something I haven't done. So I've never had to blur footage of a person. But, I mean, I've had to blur black backgrounds and stuff. But anyway, doesn't matter. Point is, you've got an army of people that could be working on this. This is not... It's not necessary to, like, make it super HD. And why not? You said you're going to release the original one so there's no funny business. Why not release that first? Why not release that before you make this announcement?
Yeah, because then you wouldn't have to worry about funny business.
Yeah, it's like we're going to produce the original first, and then we're going to later produce an enhanced version. Why not do that?
Yeah, like Star Wars.
Yeah. Why not do that? Probably because this is bullcrap and they're gerrymandering trying to buy time. I don't know that for sure, but my gut is saying fat chance we'll see this video of the empty hallway.
Well, if they want to buy time, they just got to print it, right?
Yeah. Well, the only thing is, it's like they're going to cut it. They're going to try to, I don't know, they're going to try to find a way to, like, either they don't have it at all and we're never going to see this thing. Or...
Just said they need to find the proper soundtrack.
Okay, gotcha. There we go. Yeah. She also says, I haven't noticed any lag, but I'm mostly listening and not watching. Sorry.
That's fine. It may just be my internet. It's just a hair behind.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was lag because, like I said, I didn't turn the latency all the way down before I set up the stream. But anyway. Anyhow, so I'm just cynical that this video even exists, and it's just... It doesn't make any sense. Why tease? Like, why tease? Oh, we're going to put out the evidence for January 6th. You'll see. Oh, we're going to put out the videos for Epstein. You'll see. Oh, we're going to give you all the information on Epstein once we get rid of and once we protect the identities of the victims and stuff. You'll see. But they haven't produced anything. Nothing. They just keep saying they're going to do it, and then they don't. And it's like, well, if you're planning on giving us an unedited version of the original anyway, then why not just put that out first?
Yeah. Or at least put it out along with it, with what you're saying. Be like, here it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it stinks. This whole thing stinks to high heaven. I don't know if he's got anything else interesting to say, but let's see what it is.
So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
So there's 3 cases that you're looking at, the DC bot.
Okay, so fine, but you still, like, you cannot close the investigation and you can't conclude the guy didn't kill himself because, yes, apparently nobody entered the cell. There's no DNA of anybody entering the cell. But we know people were monkeying around at that cell before people actually got in there and investigated it. We also know, again, his jawbone was broken in or one of his bones was broken in 3 different places. So how did that happen? What theories do we have left that could explain all this? Let's assume that everybody's telling the truth, although somebody is definitely lying. At least that's the odds. Odds are somebody's definitely lying in this case. But for the sake of argument, let's assume everybody's telling the truth. So you've got 3 bones being broken in a way that's consistent with strangulation, according to the autopsy. You've got witnesses in the cell saying they heard screaming. And then you've got this camera footage.
How does one scream when they're being strangulated?
Well, if he was fighting the guy and then lost, that would be... because at least when this first came out, there was somebody claiming that they had heard screaming. So let's assume that's true. Let's assume the bone thing in the autopsy report is true, and let's assume this claim of a video is true. What possible explanation could be left that could explain all 3 of these anomalies, Trevor?
A witch put a hex on him.
No. That's all crazy. I mean, who knows? Basically, either somebody's lying or maybe he faked...
It was supernatural.
Maybe he faked his death because he had a bunch of information on sources and multiple governments wanted him. But that's crazy talk, Trevor. Let's believe in the witches. So that's what's going on, because people started saying that the body looked different in certain particular ways back when this first happened. But everybody was like, what? No, that's crazy. Just as he had a fight with his imaginary friend. It's like that scene from Liar Liar. I'm kicking my own ass. Do you mind? But anyway. So,
it's a great movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie.
We should review it.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's either somebody's lying or it had to be something like he faked his death, because if you really do not have anybody entering the cell, if you really have somebody not entering the cell, if you've really got 3 broken bones, and if that guy really did hear them scream, and then you've got on top of that, you've got 2 security cameras shutting off, only one works, the one that just so happens to be recording the empty hallway, by the way, and then the guards at the same time fall asleep. I mean, these are all facts. So whatever theory you come up with has to account for all the facts. And everything he's saying is not accounting for any of the anomalies people have complained about. That's part of the problem. They're not talking about the stuff that actually happened and what people have pointed to raise questions. It's
just believe the expert.
Yeah, just trust the experts. It's like, okay, let's say he killed himself. Did he or did he not have paper sheets? Is that or is that not true?
I don't know.
They said, people have said he had paper sheets. Like, it was impossible to hang himself with those kinds of sheets. So, and also, I think Rudy Giuliani was saying on Benny Johnson that if he was in one of the short cells, it would have been too small for him to hang himself anyway, which is apparently a trick to begin with. So you have all these different anomalies that people are pointing to, and they're not addressing any of them.
That's nuts.
But why? Why? Well, let's get away from this, and I'm sorry it took so long to even get to that clip, but I wanted to show him saying that particular phrase at the beginning. So let's move on to Kash Patel.
Hi, Kash. And his little chair.
Yeah.
Looking for this video, all I could find was a bunch of videos of him being made fun of in his short chair there.
It's called a red herring because I don't want you talking about the Epstein stuff, the Jan 6 stuff, all this stuff. Like anything but what's actually about anything but what's going on. So,
yeah.
All right, let's see here.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said...
Oh, Epstein's a conspiracy theory now. It's a conspiracy theory. One you pushed, Cash! I mean, that just drives me nuts. It's like you're one of the guys screaming it, and now you're gonna say, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." You were too. So what changed your mind? I wonder.
Money.
Yeah, money. Well, again, we'll get into the why here in a minute. It could be money. Money's one of them, but I kind of doubt that's what it is. But we'll see. We'll talk about it. I mean,
there's truth in the wine.
Huh?
In vino veritas.
Oh, in vino veritas. Yes, that's true.
As far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So,
okay, I want to point this out. Because this, boys and girls, is what is called moving the goalpost. Okay? We started out with, we're just protecting the victims. We're just protecting the identity of the victims. That's why it hasn't come out yet. We're just protecting the victims. That's all. And now it's, well, we have to get it in the right format. We have to get the framing correct. In other words, what we said a few weeks ago, we got to protect our sources.
Isn't it a little late to protect the victim?
Well, no, because some of these guys were trafficked, and they want to protect these guys' identity.
It's a little late for them then.
No, because they don't want. They just don't want like people to figure out somebody. They don't want somebody who was a kid at the time to be outed later in life. Because A, that would be humiliating. B, that would put a target on their back from powerful people.
Oh, yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, and so that's what they're claiming. But note how he's changing the criterion now. It's no longer we have to protect the identities of the victims. It's now we got to get the framing right. We got to get it in a way that the American people can digest or whatever, you know. Yeah, it's I just wanted to point out that word. Let's listen to that again if I can get this not to go back too far. All right. Let's look at that.
But I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other...
So they can't rely on it. They can't rely on it. Now, you could read that one of two ways. You could say, okay, we want to make sure we got all our facts right. Okay, well...
Hurry up.
I'm assuming that they've doctored the thing anyway. So, I mean, just put out the report as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is what... Because it ain't your administration that's done this. It was Merrick Garland and then Comey, Bill Barr. Like, those guys were in charge of it.
CIA.
Yeah, CIA. So, I mean, if they lied about stuff, okay, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But what format? Why are you monkeying with this thing? Because when I hear that, I'm hearing politicalese for, we got to make sure that the story is told right. Meaning, we got to omit certain details that might cause an international incident because certain agencies that are not American were also involved, and this is pretty much an international blackmail racket, and other countries were using the information. We gotta be careful how we format this because, you know, all this. But he might mean rely. He could mean rely in that they're trying to sift through the lies. But how are you going to sift through the lies without doing another investigation?
Or lying yourself.
And at the end of the day, it's like we don't need all the details. Like, what we want is the people that were abusing the kids, we want them in jail. Okay? So if you have video footage of people doing illicit acts with children, then we want a list of those names because we want prosecutions. They don't have to come right away, but we want to know who was on those tapes. That's what all this ultimately is about. And so if you're wanting to do all this filtering and formatting and trying to get to the bottom of it, okay, fine. Who was involved? That's ultimately what we want to know. Who was involved? Who do you? And if there's ambiguity about anybody, don't put out any names that there's some ambiguity behind. But surely there are some pretty clear offenders. All right.
Yeah.
So if it's obvious, put out those names.
Easy.
Yeah. But it'd be a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
You know. Now they're willing to
scared.
They're willing to rake a million other people's names through the mud publicly before there's a trial, but apparently if they're a super duper big name, then we have to get our facts right before we put it out because we don't want them to take a hit. But all those, poor lower ranking people, we'll accuse them and then have a war of public, have a war in the courts and have a war of public opinion before the trial. We'll accuse some Hollywood actor like Johnny Depp, we'll run him through a PR campaign before we have anything resembling a trial.
Even though he's innocent.
Yeah, even though he's innocent. Or whoever, it's pretty common for these guys to make the accusation and then have the trial later. That's not abnormal. But apparently, when it's super duper rich people, we have to get our facts right then. So.
And it's probably pretty obvious who it is.
Yeah.
Instead of, it's all blurry and you can't really tell.
Yeah, I think there's some pretty powerful people on that footage, and they are scared out of their minds, and they don't know what to do because this is going to be such a firestorm. And look, it's the intelligence agencies using child trafficking as a blackmail racket. That's what's going on. Epstein was probably, in all likelihood, 90% chance connected to intelligence agencies. And this gets us back to the why I've been teasing for the entire episode. They want to protect the institution. I think Robert Barnes is right. I think that these guys are institutionalists, and all of this is about reestablishing trust in the FBI and
Which institution?
creating the FBI, the intelligence apparatus, the FBI, CIA, NSA, all those guys. These guys are about reestablishing trust in the system. See?
Oh, boy.
So there's a goal that is, frankly, not the truth. There's a goal that is we have to rebuild trust for the good of America and all this rah stuff, rather than just getting to the bottom of things and figuring out what happened. They're not going in there to try to figure out what happened. They're going in there to reestablish trust in the FBI, in the institutions, in the intelligence branch. Because, we're America, land of the free, home of the brave, and all that. So they don't they're more scared of that jaded sense of people, like the jaded sense of our institutions, that distrust of institutions. They're more scared of that.
Hello, Mushroom. Welcome in.
Yes, hello. I'm going to destroy whatever it is you said. In lucem ex tenebris.
Apparently,
Drink.
he's an educated man.
Apparently so. So, anyway, yeah, this is about defending. That's what I think this is about. I was originally saying FBI, blackmail racket, but like a blackmail racket or whatever. But I kind of am a little more dubious about that now. I think this is because they just keep repeating that establishing trust narrative. So I think that's really what it's about. So, okay, moving on.
Trust me, I'm an expert.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to conclude our next what would you call it? Our next edition of, or our next it doesn't matter. The next
rendition.
The next part of the Kash and Bongino drama. That's going to conclude this addition to the Kash and Bongino drama.
That'll work.
Yeah, that'll work. So we're done with that. So we're going to move on to subject number 2. If you are watching on the live stream, stay with us. We'll be moving on momentarily. If you are watching this after the fact, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Do you want to sign us in for this one?
Which one are we going over?
We're going over, I think next one's Fauci.
Fauci.
Yes.
Okay.
So hang on a minute. Let me switch us back to our original screen. Here we are. So do you want to do it, or do you want me to do the intro?
Okay, I'll do it.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Welcome to Faith Fiction and Folklore, or the Triad podcast, where we try our best not to F things up. And this time around, we're going to be getting into RFK claims about Fauci and, what was it?
Fauci has been accused. I'm trying to find a way to. I need to figure out a way to delicately word this.
Yeah, so I was thinking. I was like, wait.
Basically, Fauci was dealing with a lot of bodies en masse. People were expiring, and he was getting rid of the bodies in a nefarious way. I don't know if that will cover us with the algorithm or not, but that seems to be the case. RFK made this claim, and there's been some interesting commie cover-up stuff. I got an article by the AP that was a little funny to read, or not funny, but, indicative of the censorship and the way that they mask wording and stuff. So, but I thought we'd start by watching RFK's the segment of an interview of RFK. It's been very hard to find, apparently. Like, we tried to find the whole thing, and it's
been blocked and banned, and
it's getting harder and harder to find stuff, even under the Trump administration.
Tony Fauci made sure that none of those kids had guardians, which is illegal, and then he hid what he was doing from the boards. He took foster homes in 6 states, and he turned them over to the pharmaceutical industry. He made sure that the people who were running those foster homes did not even have medical training. Most of them were immigrants who came from the Dominican Republic. They knew nothing about medicine or responsibilities, and they were sickened when they realized slowly what they were involved in doing to these children, that they were torturing these children. And there's videos of these children, an old BBC documentary that will make you cry. I promise you cannot look at these without weeping. One of these kids, a 12-year-old, who's trying to protect the 8 years old, and he has a tube in his stomach. And he's telling them, I tried to fight them, and this is what they do if you fight them. You can't fight them. You need to just take the drugs. And the kids didn't want to take them because the drugs were making them horribly sick. And Celia Farber, who's this amazing researcher who worked on this chapter for me and did a lot of the original research on it, she actually went up to Hawthorne, New York, to the Gates of Heaven Cemetery. She found the cemetery where Fauci was disposing of the corpses of these children who died in his illegal experiments. She found an open pit. It was actually covered by an astroturf carpet. She opened the astroturf carpet, and she saw hundreds and hundreds of tiny little coffins stacked haphazardly upon each other, because these are children who have no parents, and nobody was there to protect them. And Tony Fauci treated them as collateral damage, and his objective was to enlarge the markets for these pharmaceutical companies who he had partnered with by allowing HIV, these toxic chemotherapy drugs, to be given to children. And then the next experiments, which are in the next chapter, which are equally horrendous, is his experiments on African.
All right, I don't know if Jones talks
that is
much
horrifying.
more. Yeah. So this is something that also came up at the beginning of the COOF, and it was kind of buried pretty quick, and so it's apparently come back around. And I mean, I don't see any real particular reason to not believe RFK on this. So anyway, just to take a break here, we might circle back to Alex Jones and what he has to say on the matter. We have 2 more items here. We might go back to Jones here in a minute, but I just first wanted to point out AP, people are running defense. So AP and their fact checkers did their little assessment, instead of fact check, change the wording around. So this is actually August 28, 2021, indicating, like I said, that this was brought up before, or this type of stuff. Yeah. So let's see here. The claim. Dr. Anthony Fauci funded experiments on orphans of AIDS, and 25 of them died. AP's assessment. Missing context.
Oh.
I don't know if that wasn't a commie way to put that. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, which Fauci runs, did fund clinical trials evaluating HIV and AIDS treatments that enrolled HIV-positive children both in and out of foster care. But the report that found that 25 children in foster care died during trials did not find that the trials were the cause of their death. Well, what else would it have been? Good night. I guess we're supposed to believe that the disease itself killed them. Anyway. A claim spreading on social media is targeting Dr. Anthony Fauci by misrepresenting the findings of a 2009 report focused on New York City foster children who are HIV positive and participated in clinical trials related to the treatments for their condition. Let me just finish reading this. The website Unite America First published a headline, Dr. Faustian, that is a very good headline, funded experimenting with AIDS. Orphans, 25, died. Here's a question. Why were you testing on kids?
I think it reads Dr. Falkenstein.
Faustenstein? Maybe that's what it was. Faustian would have been good too. Either way, it's all fine. Yeah, but here's the question. Why were they... Why? Why even test on foster kids and orphans?
Because that's who they could take off the streets.
Yeah,
and just do it.
And it's because they had no parents who would have to give consent. And obviously the kids aren't going to consent. So it's like, yeah, he did, do these trials with these kids. But we don't know that the trials killed them. Oh, why was he doing it on foster children who were wards of the state? Because they have no rights. That's why. He could kill them and nothing would happen. That's why. They couldn't consent to the trial because they were too young, nor did they have parents that could consent for them. That's why. But we're going to omit that detail and just focus in on the fact that, we don't know empirically that the vaccine did it. We don't know. These people are sick, Trevor.
No, they're beyond sick. They simply do not care.
Yeah. This guy was able to get away with it for years. It blows me away. Like I never even heard of this guy before COVID.
Right, and good Lord forbid, whenever people would bring this subject up, they would instantly be shut down. Like YouTube channels and other channels, and during COVID, if they brought Anthony Fauci's history up, they were automatically shut up and shut down.
Yeah, which is why it's getting talked about on a YouTube channel called Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, instead of being on the national news and there being a giant trial about it. Anyway, all right.
I can't believe he's still around. Fauci.
This guy should have went to jail years ago. This is insane. It's insane that he's allowed to walk. Anyway, so here's I haven't watched this, but I was hoping to get more details on the story because I felt the RFK thing was a little insufficient. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, it was a little short, but
we're gonna see.
It was enough.
Yeah, it gave you the gist of it. We're gonna see if there's more details on this, and then we'll circle back to Alex Jones. But we first got to go through the stupid ads.
Crypto.
Love the thrill of hitting it big?
No.
About 10 years ago, we launched the first and most widely used stablecoin, enabling over...
The corpses of thousands of children killed by Dr. Anthony Fauci in illegal medical experiments have been uncovered in Hawthorne, New York. bolstering the case to have the former NIH director charged with crimes against humanity and crimes against children. In the same way that Nazi Dr. Joseph Mengelé's crimes horrified the world when his atrocities were exposed after World War II, the scope and reach of Fauci's horrific experiments on animals and children are leaving investigators stunned. Why isn't this front page news in every newspaper in the country? Where is the mainstream media? The short answer is the mainstream media is hard at work covering up the crimes of the globalist elite, including the depraved crimes of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to support the channel and gain access to uncensored content. Dr. Fauci is a psychopath who has pushed science into the realm of sadism.
That reminds me, I don't know if we're going to get through all this, but this is on Rumble, obviously. And the YouTube channel is called The People's Voice, if you're interested in that. The title of the video is, you can see it mostly on the screen. Mass graves of thousands of children killed by Fauci in illegal extermination experiments found in NYC. So with that, we'll go on. I don't know why it's not just letting us play it.
Freedom of Information documents obtained in January 2021 by the White Coat Waste Project show that Dr. Anthony Fauci approved a $424,000 NIH grant in 2020 for experiments in which healthy puppies were tortured, enclosed in cages with their vocal cords removed, where sand fleas slowly ate them alive. Why were their vocal cords removed? So that the researchers could continue to torture the puppies over the course of 196 days without the annoyance of incessant barking.
If Dr. Anthony Fauci thought Rand Paul was mad at him, wait until the animal activists see this.
Oh, but Fox News will talk about the dogs.
Let's skip right over the kids.
Yeah, let's skip over the kids, but, the puppies are cute, so we'll worry about them instead of them dad-blame foster kids. We don't like to talk about foster care anyway, so let's just move on from that.
New report shows that under Fauci's direction, the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Disease funded painful and deadly experiments on dogs to the tune of more than $400,000. According to the White Coat Waste Project, researchers using
taxpayer dollars to torture puppies. Such is the man's supreme arrogance, Fauci did not deign to reply. Perhaps he thought the issue was of little consequence, because Fauci hasn't just tortured and experimented on dogs. He's also tortured and experimented on humans, including children. And there is a mass grave in New York that bears witness to his crimes. After this quick break, we will expose the full extent of Fauci's crimes against children and explain why the mainstream media cannot be allowed to brush his crimes under the carpet. But first, an important message from our sponsor. The globalist elite want us to...
Okay, we're going to go ahead and watch the ad because Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers makes a point. If you're going to borrow people's content, you need to watch their advertisers. It's only fair. I'm like, all right, well,
it is fair.
We'll watch their advertisement.
Be financially unstable, so we rely on them for everything. And now they're making their move. Right now in Biden's America, inflation is so high that the Federal Reserve is talking about raising interest rates further, which will completely tank the economy. But this is all part of their agenda. The only people who aren't afraid of the coming financial collapse are those who are investing in gold. The problem is the price of gold is near an all-time high already. That's why I recommend a company that trades at multi-year lows called Gold Mining Inc., trading on the New York Stock Exchange under GLDG. Their gold resources are the cheapest around. If you go to the link below this video, there's an entire presentation explaining how this company is almost 90% more discounted than any other gold company out there. If you're interested in financial stability, I urge you to download this exclusive report today. In 1992, under the direction of Dr. Fauci, the NIH funded drug trials on supposedly HIV-positive children. I say supposedly because we know that many of the children were not actually infected with HIV. These children, many of whom were orphans, tested positive via faulty, or some say rigged, PCR tests.
What? You mean they rigged PCR tests? That's a thing. Wow, I had no idea. Yeah, it's almost like this little guy. It's almost like Fauci's done this before. Huh. Wow, interesting. Rigged PCRs? Weird.
Administered through New York's Child Welfare Department, who then handed the children over to Dr. Fauci, no questions asked, for the deadly experiments. Damningly, many of the drugs Fauci was testing on the children were already known to cause deformities, organ failure, brain damage, and other lethal side effects. And yet, the innocent children were required to continue with Fauci's depraved experimentation, regardless of the negative side effects. In 2004, a British documentary entitled Guinea Pig Kids exposed the savage barbarity of Dr. Fauci's science projects. The nurses administering the drugs were lied to by Dr. Fauci, who explicitly told them that all the adverse side effects they witnessed in the children were being caused by the HIV infection and not the drugs.
At the time, it did not occur to me that anything was wrong, because we were told by the doctors that these were all steps that were going to happen, to be expected, because they were all HIV positive.
Jacqueline Horger is a pediatric nurse who worked at Incarnation for 5 years.
If they were vomiting, if they lost their ability to walk, if they were having diarrhea, if they were dying, then all of this was because of their HIV infection, and to be expected, and that we were doing the best we could to save them from that.
Jacqueline was completely unaware that she was party to experiments on children.
It didn't come as my first thought at all to question the medication, and since I had worked with pediatric AIDS for many years and had given the medication, I just faithfully gave it as I was told by the doctors.
When parents refused to consent to these barbaric trials, the
Sorry, Trevor. What?
Could you imagine that?
No, I can't.
You believe you're a healthcare provider trying to help children, and the whole time you're being lied to about what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And then you find out years later that you were actually part of this. I mean, those people alone are going to need therapy for that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It
Not
is.
to mention the kids themselves.
Mm-hmm. But how does stuff like that happen? Because people get into the habit of going, don't trust your lying eyes. Trust us. Trust the experts. Trust the science. These appeals to authority are what create this crap. If people would just stop listening to these PhDs, institutions, and actually evaluate arguments for their own sake, you wouldn't get crap like this. But you're not logical. You're not smart. You're just a nurse. You're just a pleb. But we academic, we elite, we know. And this isn't caused by the vaccine. This is caused by, whatever, by the disease. We know, though, because we're the experts. Trust the experts. Trust the institution. You need to trust your systems, Trevor. But people are smart, and people can evaluate the stuff, and if people would trust their own intuitions rather than listening to these idiots, you wouldn't get stuff like this.
And ask a question or two.
Yeah, ask a question or two. All right, moving on.
Administration for Children's Services took their kids and placed them with foster families or children's homes, where continued participation in the trial would be assured. Fauci was hell-bent on seeing this depraved experiment through to its bitter end. He simply would not be thwarted. When the children resisted his deadly drugs, they were brought to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, where plastic tubes were surgically inserted into their stomachs, and the deadly drugs they were trying to escape from were pumped directly into their small bodies.
My friend Jolisa, she never, ever liked to take her medicine. So they used to hold her down, force it down her throat. I tell her, would you like this?
This boy spent most of his life at Incarnation. Age 15, after years on drug tests, he has the physique of a 10-year-old. He didn't want to show his face, but he did want to tell the story of what happened to him in the home.
I did not want to take the medications, and I did not want to, do all that stuff.
But they insisted.
Yeah, if you want to get out of there, you have to do what they say, or else you're not going anywhere.
His medical records, which we've obtained, prove that he was enrolled in drug trials while living at Incarnation. If a child refused to take the medicine, a peg tube was inserted directly into the stomach, something he warned his friends about.
And I used to tell her every single day, please take your medicine. Don't want a tube in your stomach. And she didn't listen to me. That's what she got. And my friend Daniel, he didn't like to take his medicine either. And he got a tube in his stomach.
When the children died of the deadly drugs, their bodies were simply tossed into a large unmarked grave in Hawthorne, New York. A large pit with astroturf thrown over it.
You would not expect too many parents to volunteer their loved children for such experiments. This means that if the researchers want to do the experiment on children, they're going to look for vulnerable children whom they can get. And when you have city government agency accommodating them, that is the biggest betrayal of those children. They don't have anyone but the city agency that is their guardian on paper, but not in human ways.
For over 10 years, Vera Shirav has battled almost single-handedly with the New York authorities to come clean over the use of children in drug trials.
Why is that even a thing?
It should not be a thing.
How does that even get to a place where that's a thing? Like, how do you even get here? Like, I mean, obviously they're using the foster kids because the kids can't consent and they don't feel like they need to give them any rights.
Yeah.
You know, this is why rights are inalienable. They're not just like citizen rights, they're human rights, because people find these stupid kind of loopholes in the law unless you assume that a right is inalienable. Those kids deserve to have a choice as to whether or not to go through something like that. And then if they don't want to anymore, they should have the right to stop. But because people make these stupid nuances between whether or not you're technically a citizen or whatever, people find ways to skirt around the law to do stuff like this. And then people who follow the letter of the law and don't understand the spirit of it, they'll go along with crap like that.
Yeah.
They'll sit there and go, well, technically they're not citizens, so I guess you do have the right to stick a tube in their stomach by force, like it's something out of Minority. Yeah, by force, like it's something out of Minority Report or some stupid dystopian novel. I mean, they'll say it's okay because you found a technicality.
Missing context.
But trust the experts. Trust the experts, Trevor. You're just a pleb. You're just a dumb pleb. Trust the guy with the initials behind his name.
Like MD?
Yeah.
These very highly experimental
or CIA.
phase 1 and phase 2. Why?
Or CIA.
Didn't they provide the children with the current best treatment? That's the question that we have. Why did they expose them to risk and pain when they were helpless?
You know why? Because it made him feel like God.
Yeah.
That's it. Made him feel powerful. Made him feel tough. That's why.
Would they have done those experiments to their own children? I doubt it.
Years later, Vera Shirav, who spent years investigating all of this, told Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that Fauci just brushed all of the...
About 10 years ago, we launched the first
and
most widely used stable coin, enabling
those dead babies under the rug. There were collateral damage in his career ambitions. She said that at least 80 children died from Fauci's drug torture chamber in the Manhattan foster home alone. A BBC investigative journalist said in the documentary that I found the mass graves at Gate of Heaven Cemetery in Hawthorne, New York. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a very large pit with astroturf thrown over it. Under it, one could see dozens of plain wooden coffins. There may have been 100 of them.
In a mass grave owned by the Roman Catholic Church close to Manhattan, over 1,000 children's bodies, including some who were enrolled in the trials, lie beneath a tarpaulin. Officially, their deaths are recorded only as resulting from natural causes. For months, we tried to get answers from those behind the trials. from Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, where many of the tests were devised. From Incarnation Children's Center, from the Catholic...
And this gets into NGOs. Like, they're hiding behind religious institutions because they can get that government funding and that nonprofit status. So we talk about the CIA joking and stuff. Well, projects like this get funded and the money gets shifted around through NGOs, like these 501c3 types things, like these religious organizations.
And that's where things get even more dark.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Do we want to finish this, or do we want to go see what Jones's thoughts are?
Let's go see what Alex Jones has to say.
All right. And then we will wrap it up. We're about done here.
In the late 1990s, I interviewed the investigative journalist, and I'm going to get her back on, who found the mass grave in New York full of dead black children murdered by Anthony Fauci. Do you hear what I just said? He doesn't just have the larynxes of hundreds of beagles removed and then put their heads in mesh cages with flesh-eating flies and maggots. No. That's just to make sure his researchers are evil and will do whatever he's telling them. He does this all over the world. He does it to children in India and in Nigeria and in South Africa and in Mexico and Brazil and over 120 other countries. He has been Joseph Mengele 2.0, the angel of death. He, under Obama's orders, created COVID-19 at Chapel Hill, North Carolina, moved it to Peter Daszak, the Eco Health Alliance in Wuhan for cover. Had the so-called vaccine already on the shelf, that's all come out 2 years before, and rolled it out. They would block doctors in the U.S. around the world. Famous movie, Dallas Buyers Club, is based on a true story, who were giving people that had HIV real drugs that were curing them, and they knew it. Instead of boosting the immune system, they gave people drugs that killed their immune system. What does the HIV spike protein do? It turns off and kills your T lymphocytes, the white blood cells that command the other white blood cells. What does the new mRNA shot do? Mass produces the spike protein, but the way it's released, it turns off the white blood cells, doesn't kill them, but has the same effect. That's all on record. So he runs the same play over and over again. I'm going to tell you this again and play RFK Jr., the HHS head, talking about it. And it's in his book, The Real Dr. Anthony Fauci, that they premeditatedly, and it's not hundreds like the New York Times says, it was thousands in the U.S. alone. They mainly targeted blacks. They would go into a single mother with 2 or 3 children, and in court documents, it came out, even the New York Times, in the early 2000s, finally reported on it, and say, well, you got a 3-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And we say we've tested them and they have HIV. Most of the time it wasn't even true. How are they getting it? Children. And we're going to take them to a secret research facility, and if you don't sign these papers, we're going to take them all.
Can we just pause on that line there? Because I think that's actually quite important. How did they get HIV? They were kids. So how exactly did that happen?
Made up a story. Well, maybe the mom or the dad.
Yeah, I'm sure they came up with a story, but that would be an exceedingly rare thing at best.
To genetically pass it down.
Yeah, I don't think they can genetically pass it down, but yeah, I mean the odds of them finding that many, like what'd they say, 80 in one foster care?
I think they said in his own personal.
Like there was a Manhattan branch of whatever it was wherever that was they were taking the kids from. 80 in one institution. That's not going to happen. Obviously, they were lying.
And it was happening all over the world.
Yeah. Obviously, they were claiming that these kids had AIDS when they didn't. And if somebody had been paying attention, they would have done that. And yet, even when all this stuff came out, we just watched a documentary about this stuff. Nobody investigated? Nothing came of it back then? Kind of makes you wonder if we deserved COVID.
Maybe.
And, here's a question for Bongino and Cash. Why should I trust the FBI if they weren't going to do anything about this? Oh, but we're going to focus on cocaine in the White House. That's an affront. That's offensive. You know who thinks like that? An institutionalist. Somebody who thinks that our government is something sacred. Who cares? I expect politicians to act like idiots and be blackmailed because they're acting like idiots. That's not surprising to me. This is the kind of stuff the FBI should be investigating, but nothing.
No, that's what they were created for, wasn't it?
Well, stuff like on this par, you would think. Like big league crime, something like this. Instead, this gets covered up. And yet, we're supposed to trust our institutions.
Yeah.
All right.
Well.
I'm done. I'm done. So, we're going to go on to episode 3. If you are on the live stream, stay with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you're watching this after the fact, guys, thank you so much for watching. And
thank you for watching.
We'll see you on the next one. Okay.
That was depressing.
Yeah, that was. So we're going to move on to something else here.
Oh, yeah.
I hope they throw that guy in jail.
Like,
I really do. Like, it just...
Or pump him full of his own drugs.
Yeah, jail does seem too good for him, doesn't it? Anyway. Okay. All right, so I have in my list of tabs the Hollywood cult stuff. So I guess I have it out of order. I guess Bradshaw Ranch is last. And this Hollywood cult stuff is next in my list of tabs. So do you want to go to Bradshaw Ranch or do you want to do the cult Hollywood stuff?
Oh, let's do the cult first.
Okay.
And then I need a potty break.
Okay.
So I will be right back.
All right. I'll sign us in and get us going. And yeah, you can just jump in when you're ready. Okay. So welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F Podcast. Now, today we are going to be talking about Hollywood and the cults. Apparently, Hollywood's big into cults and stuff. You hear about this quite a bit, off and on. And Trevor wanted to talk about it because he found this video by Terry Crews here. Let me pull this up really quick. Yeah, he found this video by Terry Crews he wanted to show. And I also just finished, perhaps providentially, a book by Jay Dyer, who I don't agree with all the time, but, he's got some good thoughts. So I was reading his first book on Hollywood, Esoteric Hollywood, and I finished it. And he actually had a quote from somebody here that I wanted to read before we got into the Terry Crews thing. So if you'll indulge me for a minute, I need to actually switch my windows up here to pull up my Kindle app, which is, well, it is what it is. So, all right, so we'll start by reading this here. This is a quote. I'll just start in Jay Dyer's book here. As Kenneth Anger noted, professional do-gooders branded Hollywood the new Babylon, whose evil influence rivaled that of the ancient city. Banner, headlines, holier-than-thou editorials would equate sex, dope, and movie stars. Yet, for the vast public out there, Hollywood was a magic 3 syllables, invoking the wonder world of make-believe. To the faithful, it was more than a dream factory where one young hopeful out of a million got a break. It was dreamland somewhere else. It was home of the heavenly bodies, the glamour galaxy of planet Hollywood. The religious verbiage of Anger is accurate. It is a veritable polis of initiatory esoteria, where the holy sites and rites of Hollywood are not the altars of mainstream religion, but another ancient religion, ultimately summed up in the epithet of the ancient mysteries. The ancient mysteries comprise the competing religious practices of the empires of old, but the one empire that seems to have achieved the most appropriate association with Hollywood is Babylon, the gate of the gods. So it's basically, I'm going to go ahead and read this last paragraph here. This is relevant. So Babylon was the ancient pagan empire prominent in biblical prophetic works as an enemy of God's people due to their idolatry. Hollywood is no different, functioning as the propaganda arm of the Antichrist media establishment, intent on re-engineering society into its alchemical opposite, unleashing the destructive forces of cultural Marxism and death. So, basically, these guys are into the occult because they hate Christianity, and, Marxism's more than happy to utilize that, and so... Yeah, so we'll go ahead and stop there. That was from Jay Dyer's Esoteric Hollywood. It's an okay book, I don't agree with everything that's in it, but I think that he is right about there being certain cultic ties. I don't know how much validity I give to their beliefs. I kind of think it's just angry teenagers wanting to tick off their dads, but these people believe it. And
in Hollywood?
Yeah, in Hollywood. Yeah, these people believe this cultic crap, so apparently people are affected by it. So let's see what Terry Crews has to say on the matter. Okay, hang on.
Oh, yeah, Terry Crews. Well, this is the one I shared with you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I only got through about
from Weinstein to all what's happening in Hollywood.
Sorry, Trevor, what?
Go ahead and skip to... Hold on, let me pull it up on my end. Where did I leave off?
I'm assuming it's up here in the beginning. What you're referring to. Well, I'm going to let it play until you find your spot, okay?
Is about an abuse of power. On the people who've been assaulted.
238.
238. Okay, here we go. All right, we'll have to start at 226. Right.
Studio quality AI images.
Hey, look, an ad.
One payment, unlimited use forever.
And against sexual abuse rings in Hollywood, as unfortunately a victim of it himself. He's a successfully recovered porn addict. He's been married for a whole 35 years. He truly is a different breed, and I can't wait for you to get to know him through this video. Again, this is Make Faith Famous, and let's get into it now.
I was sexually assaulted by Adam Bennett, who was the head of the motion picture department. Very, very powerful man who has access to studio heads. What they do affects every part of the business, from producers, writers, actors. They own finance companies, the whole thing.
And did you know him before the party?
And I did not know him. I heard of him. We had never, ever even had a conversation, okay? So I just heard, and actually, I was actually looking forward to meeting him.
But instead of a professional meet and greet, Crews claims Bennett leered at him from across the room.
And he looked me in my eyes, and he was sticking his tongue out overtly sexually to me. I mean, it was no mistake that this was a sexual type tongue move. And I'm going, and I'm thinking it's a joke. I'm thinking, is this how this guy breaks the ice? I don't understand what this is.
Confused, Crews said he reached out to shake his hand.
I reached my hand out, and he takes his right hand and under mine and immediately squeezes, grabs my genitals, and I'm jumping back like, hey, whoa. And he jumps back, and he still does this tongue stuff, and he's making weird noises, and then he comes back again and grabs me again. And I slap his hand away, push him back more forcefully, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Adam! Also at the party, Crews says, was Adam Sandler.
So, did you gravitate towards this because this was kind of like... Do you think the guy was mentally ill, or do you think he was just really bold, or do you think he was like possessed or something, or what do you think? Because that is very bizarre behavior.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Terry Crews?
No, the guy that went after him.
No, it's just what Hollywood does.
You just think they're that perverted? Okay.
Hollywood is just that perverted. They do whatever the heck they want to the people, and they basically make them a mockery at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like their initiation. Kind of like,
right.
You know, a lot of colleges.
Yeah.
You have an initiation, and it's meant to mock you, make fun of you.
It's meant to see how far you'll go, because there's levels to this thing. And if you'll go through one level willingly, then you go through another, then you go through another, then you go through another. And they just basically do this kind of stuff to see how far down the rabbit hole you'll go.
Yeah, and I've got another channel that I like to listen to. It's Nick Kiswani. He's Big Nick, and he's got a lot of videos on this that we could actually do a deeper dive if you want at some point.
Well, we'll see how this goes. Is there anything directly related to the cult, or did Adam Sandler do something lewd here?
I've got another shorter video. It's 4 minutes that I just remembered about while we were doing this. That I could send you.
Okay.
About Ariana Grande, if you want.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. So that was the video on cruise. That was all that was on the cruise video?
There's a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more.
Is this about the sexual assault? I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. The assault? Is it mainly about him being attacked by people, or was?
Well, I got about 10 minutes into it, and I was like, hey, I think this would be a cool topic, or well, not cool topic, but a topic we could discuss.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess are we done with this one, or do you want to go on to something else? Because we got.
Yeah, keep playing it.
Keep playing it? Okay, so we'll do it a little bit longer. All right.
One of Bennett's clients and Cruz co-star in the movie Blended.
I went immediately to Adam Sandler, and I'm like, Adam, come get your boy. Something's wrong with him.
Did Adam see any of this?
Well, first of all, Adam was talking to someone else. He looks over and he sees Bennett giggling and laughing. And he's like, I said, dude, this dude, he grabbed my junk. And Adam's like, what? What are you?
Adam Sandler did not return our request for comment about the alleged incident last year.
Mike, I'm telling you, man, I know how close I came to losing it all. Just when you get emasculated.
So Adam Sandler basically didn't believe him.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm getting? Okay. Well, that's a little bit of a clickbaity title, man. That's like, yeah, I remember Terry Crews being assaulted, you know. Like I remember him going and testifying I think I saw it in here, actually. And he testified before Congress about it. And it was one of the things that's kind of, you don't see him much anymore. Well, he's been blacklisted because he ratted these people out. So I remember that.
Yeah, he's like a host on what show is that? America's Got Talent, or one of those talent shows.
Still on there? Yeah.
Okay. I think so. I don't remember.
I don't watch network television anymore.
Me either. That's the problem with doing this type of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well.
And I just put another video in chat.
Okay. All right. That's gonna mess up my windows, but that's okay.
Oh yeah. You could also bring up that one that you just had with.
Yeah, you were talking about
the lead singer of Metallica.
Yeah, is
talking
there
about witchcraft?
Is there a certain starting point on this one?
That whole thing is very interesting. So we could do that.
Okay.
And he does an interview with Sean Ryan. And it's just this whole clip, 16 minutes of him just talking about his witchcraft experience. But he's very vague on it because he doesn't want people to lead people into doing stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
How did she get into witchcraft?
Oh, Michelle. Yeah, so she got into this thing with Stan. She married Stan. Stan was, like I said, he was a really, really terrific guy. He was a really awesome guy, good looking, and rode a Harley. I mean, first thing in the morning, the whole fucking neighborhood vibrated, and who wouldn't want to be married to a cop like that? So, and his tour that he had to do every day was Pacific Coast Highway in Huntington Beach. That doesn't suck, right? So, anyways, he left her, and she was heartbroken, and she went crazy, and she started pursuing alternate means because God had not worked for her. The God of the witnesses that she'd been praying for her husband to come back didn't work for her. And she, I had ran away from home and I moved up to Idaho, and I was living with her and her kids in a trailer, which was awful, just fucking awful. And she went to work one day, and I started playing hooky from school because my nephew had told people at the school I was a martial artist guy. And the first day I got there, I got cold cocked. And I figured I'm not going to this school because I'm not going to deal with this every day. So I started playing hooky. I figured I would run away back to home. But one day I went back into where her bedroom was, and there was a candle that was on her desk that had melted. And it had some substance in the top of it. It looked like moss. And there was a picture that was burnt in half, and it was a hex to have him leave the girl he left my sister for, who was a big blonde bombshell from a bar, and to come back to my sister, who was not a big bombshell blonde. And I'll be damned if he didn't come back.
Are you serious?
He came back. He came back. So I figured, wow, this has got to work. And I saw the book. It was just a little piece of paper. It was like, you fold it in half and that's a page. And it was like a 20-page booklet or something like that. And it had a couple hexes in there. And I tried 2 of them and they both worked too. So at that point, I had to tell my wife what I had done, and we started on the journey of trying to get the oppression, the demonic oppression that had happened to me by opening up my defenses and asking for, the Dark Prince to help me put a hex on somebody. That really fucked my life up, and it took years for us to get out of it because we were going to like San Francisco up to Filipino priests that would lay hands on you. And I had some Indian Rajas that would do cupping and acupuncture and crazy stuff like that.
What were your hexes?
Well, one was something that had to do with the guy that actually punched me at school. What happened was we went to school that day. Excuse me. We went to school that day, and the guy walked up to me and just slugged me, and he said he was going to see me after school. Now, we rode a normal school bus to one point, and then the bus stopped, and all the kids got out for a smaller bus that would take us out into the rural area. And so we stop, we get out, and everybody circles around the 2 of us like we're going to fight right there. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, this is going down. So everything I'd learned up to that point, was going through my mind. And the second bus shows up, and we get in the bus, and we take off. And he's coming up to his house, and he walks through the walkway in the bus and elbows me in the back of the head as he's getting out. And I was trying to fit in, so I had a mouthful of Red Man. And I was trying to get into the whole chewing tobacco thing because that's what everybody else was doing. And when he hit me, I went, and I swallowed that shit. So I went back to my sister's trailer, and I got really, really sick. And I figured, that's it. I'm going to do something about this. So I looked through the book, and I found something that would do what I wanted. And I did that hex. And then there was another one.
What did you want to happen?
Well, I really don't want to get into it because I don't want anybody to be misled and try and figure out what I did and go down that route because it was a terrible deviation from what was good and right in the world for me. Of course, that power's out there. Without black, there's no white. But it was just.
I disagree with that. And I don't really like that mantra. It's kind of dualistic, you know. I don't think dualism's actually a thing. I think evil's parasitic inherently.
It is.
So,
yeah, and it's rampant in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But if you go to the chat on Zoom, and you can just click on that last video there.
All right, so you want to go on to that one? Okay.
Instead of opening a new tab, just click on it. It'll pop it up automatically.
Excuse us, guys. Sorry that the windows are all messed up, but it'll just be a moment. So we got this. All right. Okay. So, yeah, tee this video up about, again, what was it about?
So this is a channel, Nick, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but his nickname is Big Nick. And he was in the Hollywood stuff real deep, and he got out of it. And so now his channel is based a lot on outing anybody like into the Hollywood witchcraft and whatnot.
Sorry, say the last part again.
And he's big on outing, you know, going after Hollywood and their satanic stuff.
Okay.
And like in this video, he's talking about Ariana Grande and MK Ultra.
Okay, so he's going to do CIA MK Ultra. Okay. All right, well, we will give this a whirl then.
Hollywood continues to expose itself for the demonic mess that it really is. Especially with the whole P. Diddy stuff that happened, I don't think anyone disagrees that this is a very sketchy industry. However, what we're going to take a look at today is not just mere speculation, but a confession straight from the horse's mouth. You guys probably know Ariana Grande. She's a very big singer. If you're in my age range, you know that this woman has been around since the very beginning. However, it seems like she almost made a very weird confession in this recent interview. And for those who are awake to the current agenda, you'll realize that these comments are very disturbing. What's going on, guys? It's Nick Kiswani back for another video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel today. Before we get into today's video, if you guys like Christian content, please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel down below if you are new, and turn on my post notifications so you never miss a new video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Ariana Grande recently claimed that she underwent memory erasure, leading many people to believe that she underwent satanic mind control programming. Recently at the Oscars, an interviewer asked her about an upcoming music project, to where Ariana states that she had her memory erased at a clinic in Hollywood.
You have a release date.
You know what? They did the Brighter Days memory erasure treatment to me, so I'm having trouble remembering the details. They're foggy because at the Brighter Days clinic they do the memory erasure, you know?
If you could remember, struggle, tell me, give me a date. Give me a date.
You know what? I'll have to go back to the clinic and see if they can restore my memory.
Is it going to be soon?
This was a very odd statement, but for those who are awake to what's going on, we know exactly what
She's got kind of that wide-eyed look you see a lot of these guys have.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that
And
is interesting.
Nick here on his channel has got hundreds of videos like this of showing actors, actresses, singers, all in the middle of. He's got lots of stuff all over his channel. So if you're into this type of stuff, go to his channel.
Well, I remember before the internet, or at least before I was aware of how popular the internet was. Al Roker from the Today Show, I think is his name, Al Roker. Yeah, he at one point, I remember he was doing a Today interview, and then his brain just like seized up, you know, just kind of did this weird look thing, and it was just like this long awkward pause, and then he goes right back to talking, and you're just like, what in the world is that about? That kind of reminded me of that, just that sporadic, like I don't know, it's like a brain fart, only worse. You know?
Yeah, and a lot of people think, you know, that's part of the matrix that we're in.
Like, what do you mean the matrix that we're in?
Like, if you notice, some people in the Hollywood spectrum, whatever, they pause, and like they freeze.
Yeah.
And nothing happens.
Yeah.
Or they make a weird face and just sticks for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's just because they went through something like what Ariana Grande is talking about.
I mean, it could be. So when you say Matrix, you just mean this mind control stuff where it's like they start messing with these guys that make a lot of money.
Yeah, and it's all part of their agenda to have fake people in front of us so we have idols to look at, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if they select people because they're already somehow involved in whatever programs they got going, or if they grab these people right as they start getting famous. Like I guess operationally, that's like the big question I have, because I do think they do something, but I'm not sure if they grab them right as they're getting really famous, or if they grab them beforehand and then make them famous. You know,
yeah,
that I'm curious about. No, oh gosh, dang it! There was
or Justin Bieber.
Oh, was it Jay Dyer? It was somebody who was talking about Taylor Swift. She's clearly tied to like intelligence branches beforehand. Who was that? Somebody was saying, oh wait, no, it was on that Almost False. There was a guy talking about the Taylor Swift's connection, and that he knew she was going to go into the pop stuff like years before anybody else did, just because that's what they all do, because it's all kind of the same program. You know, they get these starlets to start out all innocent and stuff, and then they make them basically humiliate themselves on stage to like these vulgar pop dances and whatnot.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, okay, it's clearly a humiliation ritual because they all do it, but is it just something that they do kind of like a, I don't know, ritualistic sacrifice thing? Or is it just, okay, how far are you going to go?
Yeah.
Are you going to play with us? Like how, you know, are you willing to go along? Like, are you willing to be a team player? Because all this stuff, in my opinion, and this is where this cult stuff kind of interacts, I guess, is these are acts of initiation. Yeah. To get into these upper things, you have to be willing to humiliate yourself publicly, and then you have to be willing to let somebody else have dirt on you.
Yeah.
And again, that gets us back to Epstein. That gets back to all this. All this is, we're going to humiliate you publicly to make sure you're a team player, and then we're going to blackmail you so that we all have dirt on each other, so we're all sure not to rat on one another. It's just like a gang. Just like a gang. But this cult stuff ties in quite nice to that, because you can institute this blackmail racket under the guise of hedonism. So, I mean, that's kind of why I don't know if I actually buy that these people really believe the cult stuff. Oh, they'll put out the satanic imagery at the Super Bowl and all this nonsense, but I don't think they actually buy into it. I think unless Rosalind KD is right, and maybe they start out kind of, you know, getting mad at their mom and dad, and then, you know, gradually start believing it. I don't know if it's that. I think it's really just kind of a pretense to justify the blackmail racket.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So far, as I've kind of been looking into this more and more, I guess. So.
And then they go so far as to where Katy Perry went.
Now, how far did Katy Perry go?
She went to space.
Oh, right. Yeah, she went to space. Did she really go to space? People were saying they faked it. I don't know if I buy that.
It's almost 100% fake.
It's almost 100. What is that? Almost 100% fake. Well, what happened?
It's considered a conspiracy theory, but
is it?
Okay. A lot of people were able to be like, no, this was totally faked. And there's videos, countless hours of people debunking that they actually did go.
So what was the point? Is it just like they're all jealous of Elon Musk launching rockets, so they're like, well, we're going to put out a video saying we went to space too? Well, is that what it was?
The owner of Amazon, what's his name?
Bezos. Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. It was his rocket.
Oh, so Bezos was just competing with Musk. He was just trying to show off. But he couldn't do it, so he faked it. Is that the theory?
Basically.
That's funny.
Because the aircraft that they landed in it had no burn marks on it from re-entering.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't know anything about that stuff, so yeah, I mean...
it had no burn marks. That was number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two was it was like an all-female crew. Katy Perry was in there.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to believe that they couldn't open the door from the inside. Well, the girls missed their cue and opened the door before the camera people were ready. And Oprah, I think it was Oprah, was standing there and leaned in and said something. And they closed the door back, and Bezos used a tool to open the door for them.
Okay. Oh.
And it was so obvious because it was on live television.
Oops.
And yeah.
Okay.
So it's all fake and culty and terrible.
That one's kind of funny though. That's a little lighthearted. It's like, oh, you guys pretended to go to space. That's adorable. Okay. All right.
Maybe we could talk about that in another.
I guess if it's a conspiracy theory, I suppose we could. I don't know how much I care, but I suppose we could have a little laugh.
Well, that's why I didn't save anything. I was like, this is just silly.
I remember hearing about it, and I was just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if they went to space or not, but whatever. So, okay, well, let's see what this guy has to say.
Meant by this. Many people have been speculating that Ariana Grande underwent MKUltra's CIA mind control programming, especially with the CIA's long-lasting ties with Hollywood. The CIA often likes to give Hollywood movie script advice, as well as filming location ideas, but that's just what they publicly let us know. The CIA's MKUltra mind control programming experiment...
Is it advice or orders? Just
Both.
asking. Both, okay.
Advisory orders.
Advisory orders, okay.
It was officially declassified in 1973, revealing how hypnosis and drug experimentation played a big role in altering and erasing someone's memory. Although the CIA director at the time, known as Richard Helms, ordered the destruction of most of the project's records, some documents from the program were actually salvaged in the 70s, with additional information to the public being available in the 90s. U.S. Congress actually held hearings about MKUltra in the 1970s, and in 1994, the CIA released more documents pertaining to the program, including the ones that had been ordered to be destroyed in 1973. On page 10 of the CIA documents, MKUltra is stated to be researching hypnosis, 8 sub-projects, including 2 involving hypnosis and drugs in combination. Page 35 further shows the combined use of drugs with hypnotic trance and post-hypnotic suggestion, showing that hypnosis could presumably prevent any recollection of the drug experience, making it an effective brainwashing technique to erase someone's memory. As Ariana Grande's visual appearance has noticeably declined over the years, the probability of her being subject to this programming is very real. These celebrities in Hollywood are just puppets for the devil's agenda, and the only way that the devil can advance is through secrecy. Memory erasing is usually used to make the individual forget about the rituals that they partook in, which further protects the greater demonic network from exposure of these events. Ariana Grande has openly professed to be a practicing witch in other interviews, and Apostle Paul writes in Galatians 5:19-21 that witchcraft is an act of the flesh, further elaborating in Galatians 6:8, for the one who sows to his own flesh will reap destruction from the flesh, but the one who sows to the Spirit will reap eternal life from the Spirit. Sadly, the Hollywood industry's war and rebellion against God's laws only leads them to their own destruction in the end. And if these people don't repent, Satan will continue his enslavement with them in the eternal flames to come. Pray that Ariana Grande repents and turns to Christ while she still has time, because this may be her last chance before it's too late. If you made it all the way till the end of the video, I want you to comment down below, Ariana needs to repent. If you guys want to financially sow into the ministry, I have an offering link that's in the description, and I have merch you can buy, which is also linked to the description. If you guys want...
Well, that was a very interesting comment about the mind erasure stuff. Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, I just finished this book by Jay Dyer, and it talks about the cults and the CIA, and it's all kind of interconnected and stuff, so... But it's all fine. It's all fine. You know.
Believe the experts.
Well, it's just, yeah.
And take the purple.
And take the purple. So... I cannot believe... Anyway, I don't need to get on that tangent anyway. Okay, well... Is there anything else you want to look up? I feel like we haven't made the connection tight enough on this case. I feel like we need to go a little further, but I need to look up something else. I don't think we've killed 30 minutes on this subject either.
I have... Let me see if I...
Let's see.
I think I have another one.
Let me get out of this. So we'll just type in Hollywood and the occult and see what comes up.
Let's see what comes up.
Because, yeah, generally speaking, Jay Dyer has some interesting thoughts on it. Oh, here's a TikTok video on occult symbolism that might be good. Because apparently these people seem to think that if they're cute and put a bunch of symbols in front of people, that people obviously have no clue what they mean. Like that somehow counts as them letting us know what they're planning, and that gives them permission, even though nobody knows what they're talking about. Yet it still counts somehow.
Still counts.
Yeah, okay. So maybe that's what this is referring to.
Just
so let's
mainstream music.
Good night. I need to get better at muting these things before I transition. All right, here's a TikTok video.
Even just mainstream music, I think Katy Perry and her music videos, there's deep occult symbolism in so many of them that I just watch it back and I'm thinking, this is wild that I was watching this years before I got into the occult. Looking back, I do think there is this intrigue when you see a really successful person and they manifested it. And you can manifest your life too. It ties in the occult idea of as above, so below. And really the idea is that you're a microcosm of the macrocosm. So basically, ultimately, you are.
Well, now she's talking about New Thought. That's like
New
different.
Age, yeah.
Yeah, that's
New
like,
Age,
well, I
New
mean,
Thought.
it's all occult technically, but I mean, New Thought's that's not what Jay Dyer and those guys mean. Like, that's, New Thought's basically, like what she said, manifestation, you're a god, little g, like Napoleon Hill stuff, thoughts are things, that kind of stuff. That's not really, I mean, it's like an offshoot of it, but that's not really what
It's
this is.
It's the beginning into the occult. It's kind of like,
It's like diet occult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, caffeine-free
It's
occult.
caffeine-free occult. So it's like non-alcoholic wine. Almost pretty much redundant. So
Non-alcoholic beer.
yeah. So let's see here. Unless you're not allowed to have alcohol, then I guess it's very useful. But anyway. Let's see. I'm looking for examples of this occult symbolism. I'd like to try to find like a video with this symbolism in it, because apparently it counts for some reason.
Symbols.
Yeah.
There's lots of symbols on the show Supernatural.
Oh yeah, Supernatural. Well, you mean the show Supernatural has the occult in it? You're kidding. All right. Let me look up something here. We'll just go to Google Images. Hollywood occult symbols. All right. Let's see. What do we get? Oh, Baphomet. Oh, here was a good one. On Shutterstock, the eye. So for those on the podcast, you've got basically somebody puts like a loop over their eye or whatever, and then it's like, he's part of the Illuminati or something. Yeah.
And most of them that do it have no clue.
Yeah, it's just silly. I mean, it's like, okay, well, congratulations. It's almost like
symbolism.
It's almost like dumb as the Freemason thing. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like what did he say? Oh, Bill Schneblin was talking about it. He was talking about how they would like stick their hand over their heart and put their hand up and go, I'm a brother in need.
Mm.
But I mean, if you're surrounded by guns or something, like, which I think he was talking about Joseph Smith or whatever, saying a chant and doing the thing. It's like, okay, well, if you're like in Joseph Smith's situation and you're surrounded by guns and you do the handshake, even if there is a Freemason there, they're going to be like, I don't know what he's talking about, guys. Go get him. I mean, nobody's going to stick their neck out for you if you're going to die. Like, they wouldn't know. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm not seeing anything too crazy. I'm seeing upside down stars and all the usual things. But it's these Super Bowl It's these Super Bowl performances. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull that up. It's these Super Bowl performances and music videos and all this.
Katy Perry's performance was terrible.
Yeah, so here's a picture of a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Come on, enlarge that, would you?
Not Sam Smith.
Not Sam Smith. Yeah, so Sam Smith. Yeah, sure.
Cookies.
Accept all cookies. Give me cookies. Why not?
Mm.
All right. So this was a little on the nose. So he dressed up with a top hat with horns. I don't know if that's just. I wouldn't call that symbolism. I would call that rubbing your nose in it. But whatever. I guess.
He definitely rubbed his nose somewhere.
You mean it was that cocaine in the White House? I wonder.
Probably.
It was Sam Smith the whole time. Okay. So we got Beyonce doing some triangle thing. And this is supposed to be involved in the Illuminati. Is the Illuminati still a thing? I don't even know anymore.
It's always been a thing.
Yeah.
As long as the Freemasons are around, the Illuminati will be there too.
Right. So for those who, they say the Illuminati's still a thing, but I don't really know if they are. For those on the podcast, she's basically doing a triangle with her fingers. And then she's got some weird sideways look. It's supposed to look nefarious, but I think she's checking with her handler to make sure she's doing it right.
Wow.
So,
TH in the chat said, I heard one time that Satanists tell you exactly what they're doing to do so. No one can say they didn't know, and if you don't stop it, you are okay with it.
yeah, right. That's I've heard that too, and that's what I'm referencing. It's basically this. I guess it's a karmic idea. I don't know. It's like God has to allow the evil to happen if they tell everybody about the evil. Right. But my complaint with it is it's like, well, if nobody knows what you're talking about, then how does it really count? That's a very lawyer-esque thing to do. It's like, oh, we told you about 9/11 6 months before it happened. That means it's your fault. Well, just because you did an episode about the Twin Towers on the X-Files does not mean I actually knew about 9/11. Hush, that doesn't count. But apparently that's what they believe. So, all right, let's see. Is there anything else here? There's the goat head with the star. I haven't seen that a million times.
1,000,001.
1,000,001.
Times of fun.
Yeah, let's see. And then we got Katy Perry. I have no idea what this means. NFL's latest conspiracy. It's Katy Perry! No, I don't want immediate access. She's in some kind of weird glittery skirt thing and some demon Trojans throwing a spear at her. If there's any symbolism in that, I don't know what it is. It just looks goofy to me.
Yeah, that whole act was very goofy.
Oh, yeah? Well, I didn't see the act. Like I said, I quit watching network television a long time ago.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched a clip of it. It was bad.
All right, well, that was special. Okay, so I think we'll have to cover this in more detail later. I'm going to try to read the rest of Jay Dyer's books and try to understand this subject more, because it just seems goofy to me. And like I said it a few minutes ago, I think it's really just justifying the blackmail racket through, hedonism. They get these people in some goofy ideology to make them do stupid things, and then they record them doing the stupid things and going, haha, sell what we want now. So that's my opinion. Yeah, I just think it's all blackmail rackets. I think the whole system's ran by blackmail. But anyway, okay, on that pleasant note, we have got one more section before we're done for the night. So if you are on the live stream, please stay with us.
Thank you.
If you are watching this after the fact, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
All right. So, I did that wrong. The last subject's Bradshaw Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one that we couldn't find because I told you Bradley. So, because
Brady.
I told you Brady. Yeah, that was dumb of me. Okay. So I'm just making sure we got the right tabs pulled up here. And I wanted to raise it. Well, let's get to the intro first, and then I'll set it up. Okay. So, welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F Podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up. So, for this last section of the live stream this evening, segment, thank you. we're going to be talking about Bradshaw Ranch because, like Skinwalker Ranch, they think there are aliens there. But the thing that is baffling me is...
Where's this ranch at?
It's in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
I think Skinwalker's in Utah, isn't it? Pretty sure that's
remember.
right. Pretty sure that's right. So anyway, so this is the Bradshaw Ranch, and they're convinced that there's aliens. But for whatever reason, they're using the same kind of equipment and tactics that like ghost hunters use. Only instead of calling them ghosts, they're calling them aliens. And so we're going to watch some examples of this stuff. And then we're going to explore a few questions. A, are any of these methods even legitimate? B, is this a good way to find aliens?
Yes.
Or are we just going to be like attracting supernatural stuff and calling it aliens? Or is all this gizmo stuff just crap?
It's all the above.
All of the above.
Well, it's kind of like going out in the woods and hitting sticks together and hope you see Bigfoot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. That was special. Would you find a deer that way? No. Why would you hunt for an ape that way? I don't know. So, anyway. So, we're going to get into that. So, let me pull up the first thing here. Alrighty, okay, so for those who are on the podcast, I should probably tee this up. So there's this, I guess, windmill that's been on this ranch for a while, and apparently it spins sometimes, and nobody knows why. So they use some ghost hunter-esque equipment. That is to say, it's like messes with electromagnetic readings or something, and it basically beeps. It beeps, and every time it beeps, they say there's a ghost. So it's going to beep. An alien. Oh yeah, right. In this case, it's an alien. So we're gonna see this in action, isn't it? Yeah.
Ew.
Okay, I'm gonna mute this because I'm about 90% sure we're gonna get nailed with a copyright. And I'll just narrate what's happening for the podcast. He's plugging stuff in, and it's beeping. So, yep. Let's see if do they ask any questions?
Before there was an interaction between the REM pod and the spirit box.
REM pod. That's what it's called.
Okay, so my mistake. In this instance, there's a spirit box. Now, I've seen some pretty cool stuff with the spirit box.
Yeah.
We don't see cool stuff here. They get a meh, and they assume it's E.T.
Well, the REM pod has a radio something frequency in it. And so whenever you get close to it and touch it, it beeps.
Ah.
So when there's entities that you can't see walking up to it and touching it, it beeps. Where there should be no frequency at all.
See, I'm skeptical about that.
It's going off.
I'm just skeptical about that. Like, if you've got something that's scanning a bunch of frequencies and then something beeps, why would you infer Casper? Like, on some of the Ghost Adventure stuff, like, I've seen some, like, pretty interesting stuff where there's, like, live interactions. Like, it's responding directly to questions. But when you get to these instances where it's just like a meh, I mean, why would you think that's anything?
Yeah. Well, because it's only set up to where it only beeps when you touch it.
Yeah, but how would they know that? Like, how do they know there's not some kind of anomaly? Like,
that's the way they, like wind. Wind's hitting it
like
just right.
Wind or dirt or like a tremor on the below the ground. I mean, they're right by Dad Blame Transformer with a windmill. I mean, if stuff's shifting around, I mean, how finicky is this equipment?
Yeah.
So, or it just could be the fact that you're not going to have a perfect scan of a frequency anyway. Like, maybe it's distorting like that periodically or even randomly because you've got it plugged in and the current isn't even. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, that specific REM pod, though, the harder you grab the antenna, the more it beeps.
Okay.
So if you just tap it, it goes beep. But if you, like, grab it, it goes beep, 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 beep.
I'm sorry. I'm just skeptical about that. But we don't get a beep, 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 beep here. I think we just get a couple beeps, and they're like, oh, there's an alien here.
Yeah.
But let's see what they do. Beep! He just pointed at the antenna. Did you
Yeah, I
catch
didn't
that?
hear or
Yeah, there was
I didn't
no
hear or
beep.
see anything.
Yeah, he's like, "Are there anybody with us?" And then he points to the antenna like something happened, but there was no beep on the radio. Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying.
Okay, so that's the first clip. Hopefully we don't get nailed for copyright. Let me check the live stream really quick. I'm hoping we don't get nailed by copyright.
Seems all right.
Yeah, everything seems okay so far. All right. Okie dokie then. All right, so we're still good. Let's move on to the next one. So we've got the documentary. That's not what I wanted. Well,
Yeah, do this one.
This one right here? Okay, so this is 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Okay.
They're asking questions, getting it to spin.
Oh, they're asking the windmill to spin a direct question.
And this one's from 11 years ago.
Okay, let's see what happens.
We wanted to turn. We'll all think together for it to turn.
Which way? Which way?
Matter.
It doesn't matter.
It will
So
turn. It can only turn
we
one
would
way.
just like to invite the entities.
What?
Haven't done yet.
What? Entities?
Okay, start.
I thought they thought they were aliens.
Aliens, entities, they don't care.
Oh, okay. Is this just semantics? Like, is aliens just semantics for demons now?
Well, it used to be just entities. Because this video is from 11 years ago.
Okay.
And now it's aliens.
Oh, so it was demons in the beginning, and now it's aliens. I see. My mistake. Oh, my goodness. So apparently we've decided that, yeah, we're not going to go with the demon narrative. It's aliens now. Okay, so.
Well, it's just supernatural in general.
Okay, supernatural. So, okay, I guess they bleed together then. Alrighty.
We would like to invite the angelic realms and all positive,
Angelic realms. Yeah, clearly demons. Okay.
loving extraterrestrials and extra-dimensionals, fairies, dearly departed. Anyone here sharing?
All the things hit the windmill.
Everything. Touch
like,
that windmill.
You got demons and fairies and unicorns all in the ether fighting over the windmill. Okay.
Hey, unicorns are real, bro.
Oh, are they?
They used to be. They went extinct.
Oh, okay. Well, we can talk about that some other time. All right.
The portal with us. We would love for you to get together and maybe give us a sign by moving the windmill. Just the slightest way, any direction, but we're all focusing our...
Okay, I'm going to stop here. I got a little bit of a mini rant.
No.
Yes. Okay, look.
Mini rant.
I have seen my fair share of weird things. I have spent the last 2 weeks showing weird lights that I can't account for.
Yeah.
I don't assume. Huh?
Oh, speaking of weird lights, I just now remembered this.
Yes.
My biological father has been recording them as well. Same
Has
lights.
he?
Right down the street
Really?
from you. He's got them on his TikTok. So I can ask him if you want, if he'll let us use his videos.
That would be fantastic because, yes,
Yeah.
they've been driving me up the wall. Glad to know I'm not the only one. I've been
Yeah,
like,
he's got
what
the
the
same
blasted world
lights
are these things?
On his TikTok.
Oh, that makes me feel better. I've been going
So-
nuts. Does he got a better camera? Because I've been, like,
I think-
how's he getting them? Because I've had a nightmare of a time getting them on my cell phone.
Yeah, I think it's just a cell phone.
He's just been
'Cause
using his cell phone?
He just uploads them to TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to get his phone then. Because a lot of the time I can't catch him. And even in the video I showed you guys, most of the time they're like really faint. You have to squint to see them. Not all the time, but most of the time they're really faint.
Yeah, he's got one that's really good. I'll have to share it with you somehow.
Yeah.
Sometime.
They're weird.
Remind me tomorrow. I'll look it up and share it with you.
Yeah, dude, pull them up. That would be great. That proves I'm not crazy.
I might be
seen
able
these
to
things.
share them now.
Good night. Yes, if you can find them, give me a link. I'll pull them up. I'm not insane. I know I'm not insane. But here's my point. Okay, while you're looking that up, here's my point with that. I see these lights. They're weird lights. I can't account for the lights. I don't go spirits, angels, fairies, come touch the windmill, show me a light. You know, I don't assume. I'm like, I don't know what these things are. They're weird. Like, my default is, I don't know. Why would you assume demons or whatever? Like, maybe you could infer an intellect if it's responding directly to questions. But I just don't understand all that heavy summoning stuff. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Well, anyway, let me just keep playing this.
Love and our intention that you hear us and will communicate with us if you can, if you want to. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a picture.
And you...
Oh, it's a picture?
It's not a video. He's got it as a video on TikTok, but it's just a picture.
Oh, okay. Well, we can still pull it up. After we finish this, though, I want to see if the unicorn touches the windmill.
Can communicate in other ways as well. Showing your light as orbs or streaks of light. Just showing your light to us in any way.
Okay, guys, that does not count. She didn't finish her chant and she didn't ask a question. You can't sit there and while she's in the middle of still bloviating, going, oh, it's moving now. Well, yeah, she's been talking for 5 minutes.
Camera without the camera.
It doesn't count.
Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you. Thank you.
It's on film.
Thank you, thank you. We love you so much. Thank you.
Really?
Oh my God, that is unbelievable, guys.
Stop again. Stop.
Wow.
They moved it for you.
Again.
You've seen it with your own eyes.
Yes.
Right, Kim?
Yes,
Am I telling
absolutely.
the truth? You know.
Hey, it's moving. It was totally still. There's no wind here whatsoever. Not a single blade of grass is moving. And the windmill is picking up speed. Look at this. It's picking up speed. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
They're happy. Bradshaw Ranch.
I stand corrected, but I'll make an addition. It was Matthew McConaughey trapped in that timeless thing. He's spinning that windmill going, Murph! But anyway, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Murph, don't go! Tell him, don't let me go! Anyway,
Interstellar.
sorry. Yeah. She should have asked for Matthew McConaughey. She would have got a faster response, but anyhow.
That's what she said.
Anyway. So there's that. Okay, it's weird that it picked up speed. She said there was no wind. I'll take her word for it, but you can't you can't call that an intellect unless it like starts responding to questions. You can't just keep talking for 5 minutes and then when it starts doing something, go, "Oh, it's doing something." Yeah, but does it do it every time? Like, how do you know what it is? But anyway, that's just a little. I'm skeptical.
I'm not. I believe it's real.
Well, it's real. The windmill's really moving. It's just why would you make inferences about what it is?
Because it's what they believe.
I guess.
If you believe hard enough, it'll happen.
All right. Well, I believe these lights are drones. Can we see Daniel's picture?
Let's see. Do you have a TikTok?
Nope.
Because it may not work if you're not logged into TikTok.
Well, Faith Fiction and Folklore has a TikTok. Can you not send me a link to the login for? Well, no. I guess it'd have to be on my end, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would take like 20 minutes.
Take more time than it's worth. Okay.
Get it all.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a way to do this because I'm curious. Dad, blame it.
I could put it in chat here.
Yeah, see if you can put it in chat and see if it'll actually pull up. Probably
It'll mess up the.
We've already messed it up like 3 times tonight. We're not professional. We're not professional at all. All right. Well, yeah. See, you already messed it up because now you've got like an additional window thing here.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. All right. My mistake.
Paste.
Why does it do that? There's nobody there. All right. Hang on. There we go. Oh, now we're messed up again. All right. So let me copy and paste this link. Copy. All right. Paste. Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah. See, that's from his backyard. Same little lights. I don't know if you can tell.
I'm assuming that's the moon, right?
Oh, wow. It's way clearer on my phone.
Okay.
But there's two
Hang
of
on a
them.
minute. Let me pull this up for the audience. All right. So, yeah, you've got two weird lights under the moon. And they come in and they fade out.
Yeah.
His is at a different angle, though, than mine.
Yeah. He seems a little closer. But I don't know. I didn't talk to him about it. I just thought it was cool.
It's weird because, from what I remember about where he's at, this is technically behind the tree line. So this is like literally the opposite direction from where I'm at. So that would mean that these lights are coming in on the other side around Flag Springs or so. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, that is bizarre. So they're in the whole area for whatever reason. Flag Springs is a weird place, though. So
I have to talk to him about it, ask him about it.
Yeah, by all means, ask him about it. It is bizarre. Those lights fading in and out is bizarre. So anyway, all right. So we've explored that. So we've seen the spinny windmill. So what started all this mess? We got a bit of a documentary here about the Bradshaw Ranch, and I don't know anything about it beyond I'm dubious. Wait a minute. There's one more I forgot to mention. Yeah, there was the silly. Where is it? I must have got rid of it. Dad, blame it. Oh well.
Me messing up your whole thing?
No, it's it doesn't matter. I had orbs. They were calling orbs UFOs.
Oh yeah, that was in the middle of the whole long.
Oh, that was in the middle of the. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right, because we had started the movie with the windmill scene, and then we were going to go to the orbs. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm an idiot. So he starts. Let me show you here what he's referring to. So they've got. Let me just show the still shots. So they got a.
Ready to lose the hat
and
regrow the hair?
You can't even let me start at another spot to pause.
Our choose.
Speaking of ads,
UAP
on
was
YouTube,
captured.
Huh?
I watched a video. It was 30 minutes long the other day, and every 7 minutes they did an ad.
I'm getting out of control.
So the video actually wound up being like twice as long.
Guys, I will sooner read before I go back to how it was in the 90s. Y'all can suck it. I am not watching 8 minutes of commercials again. It ain't happening.
Ridiculous.
It ain't happening. I ain't doing it. I will read and just stop interneting before I go back to that. I wasted so much time watching Lucky Charms commercials. Never again. Anyway, so we got this UFO thing. It's kind of like the lights we were talking about. Let me see if I can find the orb. Let's see here. Where to go?
Orb from Orbeez?
Orb from Arby's. Yes.
Orbeez.
All right, so here's one of them. Now, anytime you see stuff like this, again, it's usually associated with the demonic.
Fairy.
Fairy? I don't know if it's a fairy.
Fairies are demonic.
I don't know that. Why do people say that?
I'll have to look up the tie.
Yeah, I hear people go. I hear people go, "Oh, fairies are demons," and I'm like, "What? Maybe. I guess they're trying to explain the orbs. I suppose."
Yeah, the little orbs you see, they're mischievous demons, and they like to mess with your stuff. So whereas a lot of people see a poltergeist throwing their stuff across the room, it's actually a little fairy messing with you. And that's why, your keys get misplaced, or your wallet or cell phone or something. It's because a fairy is messing with you.
Well, it's a theory. I almost said it's a fury. I'm tired.
It's a fairy theory.
It's a fairy theory. It's a fairly good fairy theory.
It's a fairy theory on steroids.
So you got a little teeny tiny orb here flying towards this guy. And you got the UFO outside. And then there's another orb. Yeah. So they're calling all this stuff aliens. But as we've seen clearly in the previous video, they at one point in time thought it was demonic. And I feel like they're equivocating phenomena too. Like
Yeah.
I would consider the lights to be distinct from the orbs that you're seeing floating around in rooms and houses and stuff. Like that doesn't seem to me to be the same thing, or to be, maybe it's connected somehow, but I wouldn't know how.
It's just a bigger fairy.
It's just a big fairy in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. What do I know?
Or a lightning bug.
Mm-hmm. Very big lightning bug. Yeah. It's going to take more than a fly swatter to get rid of that. So, okay. So, I guess that was my question. So, I don't think we can find aliens doing these kinds of methods. What do you think?
Well,
do you even believe there are aliens?
Oh, yeah, I believe there are aliens.
I kind of think there are. I don't know if they can get here, but I kind of think there are.
Well, I think they're already here. It's just like the theory that they're coming from under the ocean instead of space.
Well, they wouldn't be aliens then, would they? They'd be neighbors. Very obnoxious neighbors.
Underwater neighbors. Yeah.
Underwater neighbors. I don't know. I've heard the interdimensional demon thing, or interdimensional being thing. There's that approach, and that could be, but I mean, if they are out there, they're either coming in on these craft, or like they're physical. Like they're not going to be responding to, chance and popping up only on cameras, but nowhere else. And yeah, I just feel like they're equivocating phenomena. But I do think that's a theory that they've been pushing for some reason. I just don't know why. Like they've been pushing it ever since The Fourth Kind. Did you ever see The Fourth Kind?
I tried to watch it, but I got too scared.
Yeah, it's a scary movie because it was basically equivocating UFO phenomenon with possession.
I need to try and rewatch it. Maybe we could do a review on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Gary's like, no, please don't.
No, I'm just trying to... I don't... Like, they tried to sell it like it was a true story, but I don't know if it actually was. Like, I don't know if it really was a true story or if it was just a marketing gimmick. I think there was some debate about that.
Wasn't it based on a true story?
Well, that was the claim. That was the claim that it was based on a true story, but that might have just been a marketing gimmick. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, they lied, basically. They lied to get, They lied and called it marketing, which is marketing most of the time. But anyway,
So we don't want to get into marketing ourselves.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't lie.
Well,
Thread the needle.
We can't market then because marketing is lying.
I thought I added qualifiers to clarify I didn't mean in every case. Maybe I wasn't clear. It was a joke. I was being tongue-in-cheek.
That's not
But in the case of The Fourth Kind, they were lying, because if there was no true story and they said there was a true story, then it's a lie.
I could tell you a real joke.
Oh, no. Did you find a dad joke you like? You gonna share it?
You ready?
If I must be.
How does NASA organize a party?
I don't know.
They plan it.
Here's this thing on Bradshaw Ranch. We're going to watch a little bit of it. And I'm just trying to get the generic history of the thing. But is this History Channel? It might be. We'll see.
Yeah, I think this clip is from the History Channel.
All right, we'll see. We'll risk a couple seconds of it.
That's what she said.
Oh, I am turning that down till the B shots get over. Then we're going to turn up the CCCs. Until they start talking. Arizona, amid the enchanting landscapes of the swirling vortex energies, lies the enigmatic Bradshaw music. I'm sure they mean Bradshaw Ranch.
This piece of land has earned a reputation as a vortex of mysterious occurrences.
Oh, it's a mysterious occurrences. Vortex of mysterious occurrences. Come on, show me the history of the place. Sedona Ranch became popular since the 1960s in many Western movies. Oh, that's right. Many Western movies were filmed here.
Presley and John Wayne.
Yeah, so they had stars here. That's what it was.
However, it was in 1990s when the ranch gained notoriety under the ownership of Bob Bradshaw, a popular Hollywood actor and a stuntman. He and his wife Linda sought refuge in the serenity of Sedona.
Okay, we're gonna get killed for that. I'm just gonna read this. If
I'm
it annoys
sorry.
people,
I did not think of that.
Yeah, I didn't either. It's
looked this up.
okay. All right. The tranquility they sought, this would be the Bradshaws, was shattered inexplicably by events that would turn the ranch to a hotbed of the paranormal. So it was a hotbed of the paranormal. Family didn't like it, and they didn't know. Activity, Bob Bradshaw, and eccentric and reclusive figure, immersed himself in the study of metaphysics, UFOs, and I missed that last part. Something worldly phenomena. Otherworldly phenomena as he dwelled into the mysteries of the universe. Strange occurrences began to unfold on the ranch. Lights danced in the night sky. Cattle mutilations. What do you think about cattle mutilations?
That has been a theory around the demonic for centuries. They just come across cattle that have been mutilated randomly out in the field, and they can't tell you what happened.
I told you my theory about Skinwalker Ranch. Oh, yes, I did. Yeah. I'll repeat it. I basically think it's the Fed playing Scooby-Doo. They have these military bases around, and probably at some point, some trainee hit a cow with a particle gun from one of these ships and went, oh, crap. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? Let's cut it to pieces and pretend like something else did it. And a vile tradition was born.
There you go.
Yeah, that's my theory. So,
I like it.
All right. Yeah, well, I don't know why demons would want to mutilate cattle. It's like, what's the point?
Well, they do it as kind of a sacrificial thing. They sacrifice the cattle.
So are we talking about people ritualistically sacrificing cattle?
No, people are not sacrificing, so the demons sacrifice it to themselves, basically, or a higher demon.
Can they do that? How would they even be able to do that? I don't think demons could directly interact with the physical world.
I do.
I don't see how. Like, they would need a body.
I don't need bodies to interact with us.
Well, I mean, when I say interact, I mean physically interact. I mean touch, cut, mutilate cows.
So whenever people do stuff like Ouija boards or, they're doing a paranormal investigation and they get scratched.
Oh, yeah, they do the scratch thing, but I'm talking about like cutting the bottom half of a job. Have you seen these cattle mutilations? What they look like?
They're ripped apart pretty much.
Yeah, they're pretty, it's like surgically cut marks and stuff.
Well, when nobody's watching, they can do that.
Let me see if I can pull up some cattle mutilation pictures here.
Plus cattle, they don't have any stole or anything like that, so they're easier to manipulate and whatnot. It's just like the pigs that Jesus cast legion into.
I'll keep it small so YouTube don't get mad at me. So you got one of half its face removed there. I'm going to say that is decomposition, and that is decomposition. Like, so that's the other problem with this is some of this stuff is just decomposition. I mean, they're calling what happens like if you've got a predator like eats a section of a cow and then the cow bloats, that tear in the skin is going to rip like a seam.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that's not a mutilation. Like I feel like a lot of this is just mixed with like just regular dead cows. That's a regular dead cow.
Usually, like coyotes or wolves or whatever, they try and go for the neck and they wind up getting the face.
Right, exactly. Like the other thing. Like I see people talk about these mysterious cattle mutilations, and I'm looking at the animals, and they're all like bloated, which means they've been dead for several days.
Yeah.
For one thing. Like this one's not. But maybe. I mean, look, see the distended gut there?
Yeah.
Yeah, like right there. Yeah, what am I doing? I cannot remember what's what. So, yeah, you have a distended gut there. And sometimes, like again, they say it's scalpel sharp. I'm not convinced of that. When you look at this stuff, I'm thinking like a coon or like a raccoon or something, some kind of marsupial with sharp teeth or something, gnawing at the tender stuff around the lips and the eye, because it's always the same spot. And what kind of ritual value does the cow lips and the eye have?
I have no idea.
It makes no sense. Like, yeah, hearts, organs, that kind of thing, blood, whatever. Like, that thing just rotted. Like, that's a rotted cow. Yeah, and that's an example of what I'm talking about. When they bloat, they rip like a seam. So that's what I'm referring to there. That's not a cattle mutilation. That's just bloating.
Yeah.
These people are city slickers. That's their problem. They have no idea what that process is even like.
City slickers.
Well, I mean, maybe I just know because I grew up on a farm, but most of that's just dead cows. Anyway, I mean, I guess you could say that there was one particular one that had like really sharp, precise cuts that it would be hard to imagine, a rat or raccoon or something chewing on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, you've got all that meat that looks kind of tore up around it, and the only way to be able to tell was if you would bleach the meat off and look at the bone and see if there's scratch marks on the bone. But you're not going to find. I don't think you're going to find bite marks on the hide.
No. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just think I kind of skeptical about cattle mutilations. But if they are real, I'm telling you, some trainee shot a cow with a ray gun, and the Fed decided to play Scooby-Doo. That's my theory.
I don't believe in ray guns.
You don't believe in ray guns?
They're not real.
Oh, dart gun. They hit it with they couldn't drive the UFO. They hit it with the UFO. I don't know.
There you go.
I'm just going.
It's more believable.
All right, I think we're gonna wrap this one up for the night.
With our ray guns.
With ray guns and stupid trainees wrecking UFOs. So, Trevor, you got any final thoughts, good sir?
Ray guns are not real, but UFOs are.
Oh, okay. All right. And on that pleasant note, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.